Y'all know the Sunday night spaces, we do those every now and then, every so often. So, and like I say, shout out to everybody up in the space as well too. Y'all make sure y'all tweet the space out as well. But Sunday night spaces, I definitely enjoy doing them some nights and stuff like that as well too. It's been a little while since we did one. Did we do one a couple weeks ago? I forget. I know we did one not too long ago, so as always, it's good to have it. But yeah, man, Rizza Islam. And I know a lot of people support Rizza Islam and hope the brother gets him a fair trial. Definitely out there as well too. We're gonna touch up on that. Got to touch up on the Trick Daddy situation. I know a lot of people talking about it. What is BET Awards tonight? Because I know
Yeah,
it.
everybody watching that. But big up to Auntie Patty with the Patty Prize. Said she gonna get her lifetime achievement award tonight. So there you go. You know what I mean?
Well, Tyler Patty LaBelle, she just not getting a lifetime achievement award.
From BET though, specifically though, or whatever whatever the honorary award is for tonight.
Yeah, she should have been had one from BET. Now that's a long time.
A long time ago, she should have had that.
Yeah, that's a long time coming. What's up? I see Dana up in the spot as well too.
Shout out to
Dana was a card. Dana was a data card.
that needy Jersey women's alone, they will hurt you. Shout out to all out, man.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because last time we was here Thursday night, we had the space about Umar Johnson, and we had about white privilege and the N word, which was a pretty good space. If y'all hadn't got a chance to catch that space, go back. People still arguing about that space, man. Like days later, people still leaving tweets and stuff. That's when you know you got something. Like days later, people still going back, leaving little remarks and stuff about the space. So yeah, y'all definitely, if y'all missed the Umar Johnson space, we definitely had to do one on Umar when he started talking about that. I even had a little poll and stuff. The poll should be about done, but I think it was like 150 some people voted in the poll. Was Umar right about his criticism of black men? So, a lot of people said no. Good Deal said yes. A lot of people was undecided and not sure and maybe. So definitely, it was definitely, like I say, a pretty good space, man. But we want to talk about the situation going on with Rizza Islam. And also, we want to talk about Trick Daddy's. Trick Daddy just kind of just jumped out there with the whole race card thing. Like I didn't know what Trick Daddy was talking about. I'm like, race card? Like, I got the gist of what he was trying to say. That black people don't basically support black people enough and whatnot. So, yeah, I kind of understood that. Anybody that comes up to speak, make sure you raise your hand as well too, and we'll go ahead and we'll get to you. Cognitive, I see you up in the spot as well too. So what's up with you, bro? But yeah, man, we gonna let me touch up. I want to touch up on the Rizza Islam thing real quick. Rizza Islam, he has a press release out. I want to touch up because I put up in the jumbotron. He has his press release, and there's an old article from Moguldom back from 2019 that I want to reference as well too. So let me first just touch up on Rizza Islam and the actual situation that's going on with him. The fraud case that he's dealing with out there as well too. Shout out to Cognitive. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead real quick, read this article. Professor, y'all make sure, let me know if the minute you can't hear me, because I got this press release pulled up. The minute you can't hear me, let me know, just so I can go ahead and try to do something. Because sometimes you go to these actual, I think I got this in one of my got this saved on the computer, but it says in Los Angeles, California, in the fall of 2015, the California Attorney General's office filed criminal charges against Ronnie Rizza Islam, to which Rizza has maintained his innocence. This is his actual press release I'm reading. Rizza was charged with presenting false Medi-Cal claims and insurance fraud for acts which are alleged to have occurred between the years of 2010 and 2013. The charges were not filed until 2 years later after the alleged criminal acts. For nearly 7 years, Rizza has been fighting to clear his name of the charges. The government alleges that Rizza was involved in a scheme where he pretended to teach students to refrain from drug use so others could build the government Medi-Cal program. Rizza has retained criminal defense attorney Jeremy Lamont, founding attorney of Massa A law firm, PA. For nearly 2 decades, Rizza has been a leader, teacher, and mentor to thousands of individuals. Since the age of 11, Rizza has unselfishly poured into his community to teach a program that has bettered the lives of countless people. Rizza has taught on topics such as health, history, self-worth, knowledge of self, and economic independence, to name a few. Going places most would not. Rizza has worked to prevent crime in the black community, crime that is often but erroneously referred to as black on black crime. Rizza's track record in the fight for equal treatment of black folks is remarkable. The allegation that Rizza defrauded the government out of money by pretending to teach students is contrary to his fabric. What other individual was doing behind his back while he was teaching is something he had no knowledge or control over. He is innocent of the charged crimes, said his attorney. Rizza was one of dozens who was charged with defrauding the government in this alleged scheme, and he is the only defendant remaining who has not accepted a plea agreement from the government. During the trial, Rizza would challenge the government's ability to prove their case against him and beyond a reasonable doubt. All right. Okay, I guess the sound is still good. So I see everybody. The space ain't crashed. So let me real quick, guys. I want to touch up on the article that Mogadam had, and this is from 2019. This article, so bear with me. The article's from 2019. Very, very short, quick article. Just so you know, this is from 2019. So you're gonna be hearing about maybe the past reference. So just so everybody can know. Hold on one second. Let me find that article. Professor, can you still hear me clearly?
I can.
Okay. Like I say, the moment you can't hear me, let me know. The article is also in the Jumbotron. The article is in the description. Both of the articles for tonight are in the description on the YouTube channel. I just tweeted this article out as well, too, and it's in the Jumbotron. It says, yeah, the YouTube is on. California accuses social media soldier Rizza Islam of Medi-Cal fraud. Author and popular social media figure Rizza Islam was released from jail on October 11th. Like I said, this is from 2019. Rizza, 29, and his mother, Hanan Islam, 60, were both arrested for contempt of court on October 1st. The arrest came after the Islams were late to court, presented sovereign citizen claims, then kept speaking out of turn after the judge told him to be quiet, the Underground Bunker reported. The hearing was the latest of the ongoing Medi-Cal fraud case in which the Islams are accused of defrauding the state of California out of millions of dollars with bogus insurance claims. According to the Bunker, the Islams were involved in an elaborate scheme from 2010 to 2013 in which corrupt educators supplied them with teams for drug rehabilitation treatment at the American Health Education Clinics at the World Literacy Crusade. Yet none of the teams required any treatment and were instead indoctrinated with Scientologist methodology, and the state paid an estimated $3.8 million in claims, the report says. However, Rizza and his mom have both pleaded not guilty. In an interview from jail, Rizza, who has ties to both the Nation of Islam and Scientology, said he was in very good spirits and received a lot of love from the guards and prison inmates who knew his family and the work he was doing in the community since 1992. So that was Rizza. That, like I said, that article was from Mogadam. That was back in 2019. Just to put that in perspective, like I say, Rizza, he has not pleaded. He still has pleaded not guilty to the charges that he faced. His trial starts tomorrow. So we're gonna go ahead and real quick, I'm gonna touch up on the Trick Daddy thing, and then Larry, I will get to you. I just want to go ahead and touch up on that article as well too, about Trick Daddy and the race card situation that made the rounds yesterday. It's also in the Jumbotron. Trick Daddy is tired of black people playing the race card. This is from Hip Hop DX. This was published yesterday. It's from Hip Hop DX, curator Newstoter.com platform. Trick Daddy has never been one to hold his tongue, and the Miami rapper has now shared his thoughts on racism while offering advice on how the community can do better. During a conversation with Revolt's Big Facts, the Shut Up rapper claimed that when it comes to the black experience in America, niggas is niggas' worst enemies. I'm tired of niggas playing the race card when it comes to everything. Niggas is other niggas' only problem, Trick said, briefly referencing his upbringing during the 70s. Them crackers ain't thinking about us. Every time we got a few dollars, we run to them cracker stores and spend our money, the 48-year-old said, insinuating when given the opportunity, black community does not support their own. Everybody ain't thinking about us. They don't get money and come spend money with us. Niggas is niggas' worst enemy, and they got to stop playing the race card. He continued, doubling down on his claim. Later, Trick took aim at Uncle Tom protesters over protesting civil rights. Bullshit. Attorneys and lawyers, activists, getting up, trying to be on TV, telling us the same goddamn story they tell us every time somebody else gets killed. We want justice. What's justice? $3-4 million. This lady's son dead. That ain't no MF and justice demanded. Trick. The I'm Thug Rama went on to question listeners' true motives. Where y'all niggas at when nothing ain't happening right now? All the streets done calm down because the police, FBI, and everybody's circling in on hip hop now. Everybody knows the street game and the dope game funding hip hop always has. Everybody knows that. That's no secret at it. But we're trying to do something right with the money, so let us do it. Don't put a whole task force together and come lock boys up from Atlanta, Miami, and Memphis and say all these crime organizations. Trick was referencing authorities' efforts to dismantle the likes of Young Slime Life, YSL Collective. Now the war part I understand. Leave the women and children out of it. He continued to explain that he draws a line when it comes to each other's loved ones. As for the root cause, Trick placed the blame on parents. It's our fault. It's our fault for not letting our kids appreciate things. We buy them Michael Jordans. My mama never bought me a pair of tennis shoes over $30. We buying them Jordans. The average woman got 2 or 3 kids with 2 or 3 niggas, and every holiday these kids split up from their family. There's no more tradition. Going to the elder of the family, Labor Day, Easter, Christmas, you know where they're going to be at. There's no more of that. Lastly, Trick offered what he believes to be the way back statement. We got to stop having babies from hoes that ain't baby mama materials, and they got to stop having babies from niggas that ain't baby daddy material. Meanwhile, Samuel Jackson recently revealed he likes to start off his mornings by listening to some Trick Daddy. The esteemed actor stopped by Sway's Universe early this month to speak about his new Marvel TV series Secret Invasion. We revealed when he's getting ready in the morning, he'll sometimes throw out the Florida's rapper loud as hell, thugged out tunes. Alrighty. All right. Larry, I know you had your hand up. Did you want to go ahead, Larry, and say something? You there, Larry? Okay, I'm not sure if Larry's still there. He looked like he's disconnected. Professor, go ahead.
Well, old Trick Daddy. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Some of that he spoke on had some validity to it. Some of it, a tad. When he talked about the whole dynamic of the baby mama type drama type stuff that we always see it does play a significant part of hurting our community. Where we having babies with women that we shouldn't be having babies with, man. That's right. And women, you are out here chasing the men that you shouldn't be having babies with. The brother was, he's 100 on that. Now, we're just going to have to give it to him on that one. And some of you women going to probably come over here and disagree with that, but, and some of the brothers might disagree with that, but I have to give him his due on that part of it. Other than that, this Negro needs to sit his ass down somewhere because he was one of the people in the community, in the rap game that was talking this thug shit, thug life, thug living. He was talking all of this, so he's contradictory now to me.
Baby, because I'm a thug. That's right, you heard. Because, baby, I'm a thug.
I'm a thug. That's right. This is the same nigga that was doing this I'm a thug shit, see? And see, I know some people might say, well, as time goes on, you do better, you know better, and all of that stuff, right? But remember, you was hurting the community back then when the community needed more conscious rappers to be stepping up their game, okay? Because, let's be honest, a lot of kids listen to this music. A lot of these Caucasian kids were listening to the music. But our kids really didn't need to be hearing the glorification of I'm a thug, see? They didn't need to hear that. So you, Trick Daddy, to kind of be, how can I put it, talking down to the community now, it's kind of hypocrisy. But I will say you were correct on the whole baby mama drama type thing. because that has hurt the community. It really has. This whole thing where women are chasing down men that they know they shouldn't be having babies by. And I'm sorry, but you ladies do know it. And a lot of y'all are chasing the so-called thug type dudes, or whatever what they call them, DJ the Pookies and
PS5 Hellhead babies.
There you go. So a lot of you ladies are doing it, you know. But I'm gonna land right there because I want to hear what everybody else got to say. But in regards to the brother Rizza Islam, by the way, I am praying for this brother to get out of this situation because he's done a lot of good for the community. That's really all I can say on that. I will not blast this brother or put this brother down by any means. I just think he's done a lot of good, and I hope he comes through this. I think the government, of course, is targeting a lot of our black leaders, period. I know I saw a post here recently where I think it might have been Sir Major had put a post out there about 326 of the BLM people or leaders in that movement have been arrested on federal charges. So is it equally being people being charged the same way in this country? We know it's not true. Black people are mainly being charged for things, but look at the white supremacy movement in this country, where these folks are targeting people and going after people, plotting violence against people, and yet we don't really see the government coming down hard on these people, but they're coming down hard on BLM people and other black leaders. So see, it's a lot of hypocrisy in America. So Rizza Islam, brother, I hope you come through this. Praying for you. I'm gonna land right there because I want to hear what the other members of the family have to say on this whole trick daddy bullshit. And thank you, that Newstoter.
All right, thank you, Professor. Thank you, Larry. I know you was up here and you was having some connection issues. Did you want to go ahead, Larry? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I got connected off. But yeah, look, I like what that brother just said about this about Trick Daddy, and I want to remind everybody on this or in this space that all of the true revolutionaries, all of the true people that have stood up and made a difference, they're dead. They're not here no more. And we have to be very, very, very observant and cautious about people that we allow to stand in the gap and speak for us as a race. Now, I'm going to, and this might not be popular, but, sure, Rizza Islam has done some things, but, keep an eye on him. First of all, he came out of nowhere. And we know how the government and some of the programs in the past have taken individuals and planted them in. And, then they'll come up with something to say that they have been engaged in this and that, and they get out of it. First of all, let's examine his name, Rizza. Okay? Look, when you get a chance, Google it. Look what Rizza means. And always be cautionary of the individual that puts in his name and then puts a religion behind it, Islam. Okay? I'm just going to leave it like that. Rizza Islam. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he isn't. But I guarantee he's going to beat this case easily because that's the purposeful way that it's supposed to be done. And I've looked and I've tried to figure out, why would you call yourself Rizza? I mean, what's the name in that? Everything starts with a name. Why call yourself Riz? I mean, even if you call yourself Riz, Rizza, Italian, slang, to seduce, usually a female or a love interest, to try to trap in Riz. Gotta be what might glitter is not necessarily gold, my friends. But look, I'm not gonna speak too much on Trick Daddy, but I mean just his name, Trick Daddy, Trick Daddy. He already told you. You ain't gotta go too far. It's right there. And as our ancestor Dick Gregory would say, which he spoke on Trick Daddy many times. You know, what the hell? So, you know, I'm just giving you just a little bit to look at and to dive a little bit deeper in this. And by the way, what days does this space meet? Because I've been looking for you guys. I just picked you guys up tonight, but I really like this space with what's it,
Newstoter. Yeah, Newstoter. Newstoter. Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when you can catch us.
Okay, I like this. I like this space, and I really like the people that are here too, because I mean I'm learning, and you know it's raising my consciousness, fellas. But that's all I got to say tonight. I'm gonna listen, and but just you guys just check out what I'm saying.
All right, Larry, I appreciate it.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Hey, so Larry, then this is what me and you was just talking about a second ago, Todd, on the phone. I'm not sure. Have you ever watched Young Pharaoh when he was on YouTube back in the day?
I have, yes.
Right. Do you remember that segment he did on Rizza Islam? A while ago, you know what I'm saying? But you know, he was breaking down how you know he was involved with the Church of Scientology and all that, and then how he kind of, you know, you got to repeat what you said, man, because it is kind of true. He just kind of came out of nowhere, you know what I mean?
Right.
But just to speak to that too, though, you know, Rizza do got a history of him being in the Islamic faith his whole life. You know, his parents was, you know, or in the NOI, so obviously you're born into it or whatever. But you know, what made you go the route of wanting to join the Scientology church?
Well, wait a minute on the Scientology thing. Now, the Nation of Islam itself, because Farrakhan and a lot of them, you know, they've had some involvement with the Scientologists for a while now. So it's not just Rizza, it's the Nation of Islam as a whole.
The Nation of Islam itself, right? But you know, obviously, we're just talking about him solely because you know he's up on the court bench tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So you know, hopefully things do work out for him in that way. But hey, you know, certain people are agents of chaos, I guess. But go ahead.
Well, let me just interject and say this too, Space. Look, we all know the inevitable, and Farrakhan is not going to be here forever. And you know, the government, while we're looking one way, the government is looking further down the road. Because it's going to be, unless he has a secession plan in place, it's going to be all sorts of entities coming out the woodwork to take control of the consciousness of, you know, of Farrakhan's group, or to try to, you know, get that in mold. So I have a sneaky suspicion that all of a sudden, too, this Rizza Islam, he's been building his social media presence. Now, I'm not saying that's right, wrong, or indifferent, because I mean, I guess everybody's trying to do that. But I just don't. Something in the back of my mind, something is giving me a download. The ancestors are telling me, just keep an eye on that Rizza Islam situation, because something's not right. Something's not right with that guy. You know, I don't know. So, but I'm not going to accuse him of anything. But by the same token, you know, hey, you know, like my grandmother used to say, boy, sometimes you got to sleep with one eye open. And I hope he don't catch us with both our eyes closed, you know, doing this. But just keep a kind of a close eye on him and see. Let's kind of watch how this thing works out. Is the court date tomorrow?
I believe that's when this trial starts tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. Let's watch. Let's keep a close eye on that, because I got a sneaky suspicion he's gonna walk away scot free, and it's gonna elevate him a little bit. You see.
Well, here's the thing, real quick, like and J Money, you've been waiting, so I'm gonna get to you. I'm gonna say this real quick and go to J Money. If he does walk away scot free, maybe the man's innocent of the charges. He's not the first black person, especially doing the type of work that he's been doing. And I've heard of Rizza Islam for the past few years and stuff. Maybe for the past 2-3 years, he's not the first person. Let's be for real, to be railroaded and to have charges trumped up on him as well too. So that's not to say he's innocent or he's not. Just to try to be, just as fair as possible, he wouldn't be the first person, especially, let's be for real, the Nation of Islam or some of these other pro-black type movements where they've had all kind of charges propped up against them, and the people haven't done anything. So I just want to keep that open as well too. If this man does walk tomorrow or walk whenever or he gets off, maybe he was an innocent person that was railroaded. Maybe, like he said in the press release, other people were doing things without his knowledge, his consent, behind his back, while he was actually doing the right thing as well too. So we have to kind of be a little bit fair about that. If he gets off, we can't just sit here and say, well, he was a government plan and this was set up the whole way and this and that. Well, no, the brother could legitimately be, innocent, and he just got off. He just was acquitted because the evidence for one was non-existent. They couldn't prove his case, and his innocence just came through. So I think we have to kind of be a little bit fair and balanced as much as possible as well too. Nothing against young Pharaoh. Young Pharaoh says a lot of stuff as well too, a lot of wild stuff. I know some people look at Young Pharaoh as being like this magnet of truth and stuff, but he says a lot of stuff that's, let's be for real, that's completely out there as well too, to be, just to be to be real about it, especially now. Young Pharaoh, some of the stuff he says now, and he's talking about all of the connections he has in the world and how he stopped this and he stopped that. Let him tell it, he stopped famine as well too. So Young Pharaoh, a lot of people believe that he's had some kind of, breakdown as well too. So let's just be honest about that. But let me go ahead, Larry. Let me go ahead because J Money's been waiting, and you can just put your hand back up. We'll get to you. J Money, I know you got your hand up, so go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all. I mean, pretty much all y'all said. Everything I was thinking too. As far as the Rizza Islam, I feel like you gotta have a balance, but I feel like, dude is like one of the smartest people. Like, come on now, bro. Like, not saying he did it, but you're a very smart, intelligent dude, and you got involved in that stuff. So either you got caught doing it and other people are involved, or maybe he just didn't do it. Maybe, it's a cover-up, like I said, but I don't know. As far as the Trick Daddy thing, I feel like, what y'all saying is right. Me being an artist as well, I feel like people do have to separate entertainment from the actual lyrics, but you are correct. I feel like Trick Daddy did actually, I feel like he overdid it with his lyrics, and maybe that's just what he really is, and maybe he's regretting, now what he said, because, maybe his music had an influence on, the kids' situation, all that. So I feel like it's a little bit of both. I feel like it's a little bit of entertainment, but I feel like to some degree, there may be some regret because, like you said, music influenced people, and that influence, some people really think, that lifestyle is really cool, and they really believe it when they listen to the music. They can really feel it, believe it. So, as far as the race card, also, I feel like, I'm not talking about like black people, but like as far as like other races, like if you run to someone's race, you've already lost the argument. That's how I feel. So I feel like if you're arguing with someone, or if you have an issue with another race, and that's the first thing you run to, you've already lost the argument. I feel like that's a sign of weakness. You shouldn't be playing the race card, like going back and forth and all that, because then it shows what's really going on, like what's really happening with you. So I feel like as far as a race card, I feel like Rizza Islam's going to get off. The white dude that choked the black dude in the subway, he's going to get off. They get off, they let off who they want to let off, and who they want to keep in there, they want to keep in there. And and they'll find any way to justify their actions, any way they can, and then we'll be saying, "Oh, what's happening? It's an uproar and all this." It's like, no, that's what they want, because they some people are addicted to misery. Some people are addicted to us shouting and yelling because that's the only way they know how to get energy from us. Some people are addicted to that. So I say, hey, let them play the race card, because I'm the kind of dude. Hey, bro, you want to play the race card? Then, hey, it already shows what's really going on, and it shows that you just forsake them. Just forsake them, because don't you know that they don't know every time they run the race card? Just forsake them. Don't even argue back with them. Turn your back to them and walk away. You guys know what that really means, right? All y'all know what that means. Forsake them. Don't even correct them anymore. Let them be spiritually doomed and cursed. Y'all feel me? Y'all want to make fun of black people? Let them be cursed. Their families, they don't care about us. Let them be cursed. Don't even speak up anymore. Just turn your backs and walk away and leave them. Don't you know what's going to happen to them once we do that?
Well, Jay, here's the thing. Jay, here's the thing. Trick Daddy. No, but here's the thing. Trick Daddy's saying that black people are playing the race card. He's saying that black people need to stop blaming everything and using the race card as an issue. And he's saying that black people need to go ahead and black people, basically the families all split up, and you got a bunch of women having kids from a bunch of different men, a bunch of men having kids from a bunch of different women. Family split up. Black people don't support black business. The only time that you know black people get upset, I guess, if somebody gets killed and there's no real justice. There's settlements for $2-3 million. So he was saying that it's black people that need to stop using the race card. That was his whole issue right there.
Right, I see that, but the thing is though is that, like y'all said, Trick Daddy, he says that, but then in his lyrics he encourages black on black crime. So, but that's besides the point. But I feel like to some degree it's true, but to some degree there's all the other races are targeting us, and the only way blacks are going to unite is if someone is like Martin Luther King, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Someone has to step up and say, no, y'all, we got to march together, and we have to stay and trust together each other, because all these other races are uniting. It has to be someone like that. That's the only way that blacks are going to get along and start doing business with each other and all that. So, but y'all got to be careful too, because there's always a Judas though in every race. So y'all got to be careful with that. So even though we need to unite, just know there's always a Judas. There's always going to be someone who's going to want to overthrow you. See what I'm saying? Jay-Z, BET Awards, there's always going to be someone who wants to overthrow you. So it's a slippery slope. But yeah, Trick Daddy's right. We need to unite, but it has to be someone who we all know and who can unite us to get us to trust each other. But I don't know who y'all think that is, but I think it's I think Obama could have been one, but I don't know. But
well, I appreciate it. I have to say this right here: one person won't be able to unite the black race. You're just gonna have to. It's gonna take a bunch of us to have to bring unity to our race. We've seen right now. We've seen in the past examples that one person alone. We have to kind of get away from that, thinking that one person or two people or three people or even one organization can uplift the entire race of people in this country. It's going to take an entire group of us to actually go ahead and do that heavy lifting. So, yeah, you can have one person, you can have a few people that play a major part in it, a major role in it. It's inspirational, but I don't think one person in particular can actually uplift the entire black race, because we've seen what happens when you do have somebody that's in position to do something like that. They end up getting clipped, unfortunately. So I think we have to have a significant amount of us that's actually going to actually do that. That's the only way that we're going to actually be able to move. So shout out real quick to everybody on YouTube as well, to Dark Kent, Nate, Nat over there. Shout out to you guys over there for holding it down. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and share the broadcast tonight as well. Like the video as well too. Let me go ahead and get to T. T, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight? Yeah, you really low. You got it. Yeah, if you got your Bluetooth on or whatever, you may have to take that off because you're really, really low.
You don't hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you much better.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if y'all I'll be mentioning this though, but y'all be picking out Pharaoh said that the old Chicago.
What was that? I'm sorry. Say that again.
Pharaoh said that.
Pharaoh said that. Shout out to Pharaoh said that.
Yeah. But he taught he keeps killing all. He's like one of the head, one of the head motherfuckers out here. You know what I'm saying? But he had said some shit like he was mentioning Martin Luther King. He was like Martin Luther King. He was the voice of the people because the people wanted change. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we don't got a lot of folks beating up on this reparation thing right now. And I was talking to my little co-worker, 30 years old, little engineer guy, and I was playing some of Black Alpha Network's thing, and he was like, I really don't got nothing against immigration, but I explained to him why he should have a problem with immigration. You know what I'm saying? So I think, man, me personally, man, what I'm doing is taking a loss. Just trying to set the kids up, because right now we're too weak. Our generation is too far gone. So we need to take a loss to set these kids up and preach to them the importance of this Black Power thing. Because of that CRT thing, that critical race theory thing, they're not going to be talking about what happened 50 years ago, 50 years from now. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be real aware of the time frame that we have to make a power right now. Right now, the white folks really can't touch us physically. They can pick us off one at a time, but they can't really touch us physically now. So we're not unified now. You know what I'm saying? It's like the black folks 100 years ago, they were unified, but they didn't have no arms, no weapons. You know what I'm saying? And the movement is going to have to be like us, and the kid come out of that movement and step up. Right?
Yeah, T, your phone keeps coming in and out. Like
my wife is gonna call when I'm talking, man. You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You gotta take the trash out, homie. You gotta take the trash out. I'm getting off work, man. I'm trying to go home, man. Make sure I get home. But I mean, man, the movement, the Martin King was influenced by the movement. Right now, we gotta get this movement together so the young, upcoming soldiers can take lead. You know what I mean? If y'all follow, get the movement together. Push this thing along, this reparations thing. Why we deserve reparations, and why we gonna get reparations, and make sure these kids don't have the hatred for other races, but know that they are our competition. It's like they teach their kids that black folks are their competition. We only motherfuckers out here go, love everybody, love every man, fuck. You know what I mean? I was at a festival, I'm about to land, but I was at a festival yesterday out of this town called Livonia, Michigan. And me, my wife, my daughter, and her two little friends. And them black kids was towering over those white people. So we got them right now, bro. I think Trick Daddy was probably basically saying take a loss and set the next generation up. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Just set the next kid up. You know, spit that fire to the next kid. Motivate them like Pac motivated us. Like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Amos Wilson, all the motivators, but Fresh Press motivated us. You got to take a loss, right? You know, can't be no leader in this shit if everybody ain't all aboard. Just talking for nothing, shit. I'll lay on my plane.
All right, appreciate that. Callan on YouTube wants to know that we already discussed the Rizza Islam. Callan, we're talking about Rizza Islam. Right now, we're going to be going back and forth trying to cover that topic as well, too. We're talking about Rizza Islam and the Trick Daddy thing. Of course, Rizza Islam, he you must have missed it, but he's facing about this medical fraud or whatever. So that he's going to trial tomorrow. His trial starts tomorrow. So yeah, he's dealing with that from back in 2000 and Oh Jesus! I just read the press release and the actual article, but this is something about 7 years old. This actual situation that's going on as well too. They're trying to say that they were supposed to be doing something in terms of rehab for teens with rehab, and then you got people saying that they didn't make use of the funds, and they were trying, instead of using it for rehab, they was trying to indoctrinate kids into the Scientology school of thought. So he's facing that. Rizza Islam, he pleaded not guilty, while other people went ahead and they actually took a deal. So yeah, we're discussing that tonight as well as the actual situation with Trick Daddy, who's saying that black people use the race card too much, that they need to stop using the race card, basically stop blaming everything about race. People need to definitely check the article out, because while I disagree with some of the stuff he was saying, some of the things in the article he said I can agree upon. I can understand what he's saying about the black family, both men and women. In terms of the kids and situation and everything else, not supporting black business, which is another thing. He talked about the situation that you basically have mothers going out and family members going out buying Jordans and things of that nature like that. And he said that his mother only spent $30 on tennis shoes. So some of the stuff he said I can agree with. Well, I would disagree about this right here, and that's one thing. The race card is a true card. The race card exists. It's out there. The race card was not created or invented by black people. You do have some black people that you could argue that, hey, they put everything that goes wrong in their life, maybe they use the race card, but the race card is a legitimate actual card. It was created by white folks. Black folks didn't create the race card. Now, a lot of times things that make white people uncomfortable in real life and people say something about it, first thing out their mouth, oh, you're using the race card. A lot of white folks felt in the O.J. Simpson, and that's why they hated Johnny Cochran to the day he died. They felt that Johnny Cochran didn't let justice prevail, and he had to throw the race card in there and this and that. Now, they've been throwing a race card on black people for hundreds of years in this country and going ahead and legitimizing it and not having any issue with it. But anytime a black person uses it, then it's an issue. So the race card, like I said, I can understand what Trick Daddy's saying. You can also understand that I used to listen to a lot of Trick Daddy music as well, too. So, what he's saying about this and that or whatever, and niggas is niggas' own worst enemies. Okay. I mean, if that's how you feel or whatever. You got to say, and I know Trick Daddy's involved in some things down south in terms of, with the youth and everything like that as well, too. But, for what is said, for what it is, black people have not kept black people down in this country. Black people are not they're not creating legislation that's keeping other black people in certain places. So as much as we can say niggas is niggas' own worst enemies, like he said, there's evidence to refute that, and when people start talking about black on black crime, then, you can start talking about Hispanic on Hispanic crime, white on white crime, because everybody, I don't care what group of people in this country that are victimized by a group, they're victimized by their own group more than likely. White people die 85-90% at the hands of white folks. Same with the Asians, Hispanics, and everybody else. You're gonna have problems with the people you live around with that look most like you. That's human nature, and that's always been the case. So I know a lot of times people want to say black on black crime and this and that or whatever. Yes, would all of us like to see black on black crime take a big decrease? Of course. Absolutely. Is there an issue with black crime? Yeah, it's an issue with crime in general, but yes, it's an issue with black crime as well, too. And we know that poverty is one of the biggest indicators of crime as well, too. So, I mean, but, like I said, I can agree with some of what Trick Daddy's saying, but at the same time, there are instances where the race card is just that. It's existing, and we can sit up here and say it's not, but that's not, Trayvon Martin getting killed right here in Florida. That issue is all about racism. There's a lot of issues about racism, and people need to go ahead and just knock it off. And you can sit up here and you say, yeah, he's talking about hip hop, and he's talking about, and would I agree with him on that too, that now they're trying to use the government to go ahead and start trying to get rappers by incriminating themselves with the music they put out and are having them arrested and this and that, and people RICO charges on rappers and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. because there's so many different. You can look at a lot of these mob movies that take actual depictions for real mob situations that happen in real life and put them in the movies, and the Goodfellas and Godfather and Casino and everything, and nobody's investigating them. Nobody's trying to do special investigations to see exactly how they came with this content and how we can try the people that may know situations about that as well too. So I can understand what Trick Daddy's saying to a certain degree, and some of what he's saying I can agree with. Some of it I don't agree with. The race card is a serious card. It is a real card. It is a real issue. And the race card, when, like I say, the only time it's only black people, and that's my problem with it. And even though you hear a lot of black people, that's my problem. The race card is only being played by black people in this country. White people, the first thing when they get upset about something, they talk about the race. Oh, they're pulling the race card. They're pulling the race card. Now you got black. Oh, this the race card. It's the race card. So the race card is a very real card that's in that deck. DJ, I know you had your hand up early as well too. Did you want to go ahead? Because I know y'all was talking about Rizza and some of the other stuff.
Right. Hey, Larry, I'm trying to bring you back up. I guess he must be stuck. He said he had to go, but I'm not sure if he's still trying to come up. If y'all see him, Professor. What you call it is. So back to what Jay Money was saying, that, hey, look, when somebody talking about race or whatever the case be, just turn your back on them. Well, hey, that's what Ras Baraka did to me when I told him reparations is lineage based. Turned his back on me, but I already knew what it was. You don't gotta listen to it, you know what I mean? Because you the mayor or whatever. So at the end of the day, people that don't care about black people play that turn the cold shoulder card. There you go. As far as the young Pharaoh's video I spoke on earlier, Pharaoh actually detailed and broke that shit down piece for piece. It wasn't like no troll video. It wasn't, it was a real serious video. And I'm saying that the accusations that was placed on Rizza are accurate either. I'm just saying that, that was a pretty informative video that he did. So hopefully the brother just, be able to beat the Teflon Don and just beat his trial. Hopefully he's innocent, man. So I don't wish nobody in jail, especially no black person, especially if you ain't killed or harmed or raped somebody. All that other stuff is out the window, you know what I mean? Because you already know the system is set up to put us in jail. We're 90% of the folks that are in jail, even though we may not be 90% of the damn population, depending on where you might be at. And as far as Trick Daddy and the race card thing goes, hey, man, Trick, he don't say outrageous or outlandish stuff like this before. But hey, Trick, let's just go back to the music, man. You're talking all this race card and all this other stuff. I don't really even remember you having any conscious records talking about race in America, things that happened in America. You know what I'm saying? Did anybody name a conscious Trick Daddy record right now?
He had I'm trying to think, was it America? He had a song America. He did have a song America, and it's been so long. I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember how it goes, but he was talking about some social issues in there. But you're right, Trick Daddy's never been a social type. Even like we know a lot of rappers are supposed to be quote unquote hardcore gangster, ain't not social anyways, but he's never been one to really veer onto the social issues.
Right. So with that being said, okay, he got one song. So obviously he understands the social issues. So why come over here and say, oh well, stop playing the race card. So back to when we had the Kevin Samuels anniversary thing, and then we did the picnic podcast with just even Hollow was kept saying, hey, look, we want to kind of point the finger at each other as far as individual accountability and collective accountability as black folks. But no matter how we looked at this shit, it kept running us back to white supremacy. So it's like, come on, Trick, you gotta do a little better, bro.
I think too, one thing we forget too is that a lot of these rappers, when they're not at the height anymore, they have to do some certain things for like some shock value as well too. I know Trick Daddy, he's on the one of them love and hip hop shows or whatever, but when you're not cranking out the records like you once were and stuff like that, and I know he had like a food podcast and stuff like that, sometimes it's about relevancy as well too. And like I said, he may truly feel that way. A lot of black people feel that, hey, sometimes black folks use the race card too much. I've heard black people, I know black people, I have family members, I have friends and stuff like that say, well, everything that goes on in this world is not about race. Everything's not about race. We don't need to make everything about race. So black people themselves, have that certain feeling. At the same time, I would say this right here, because Trick Daddy, he's from Liberty City, Carroll City, one of those cities down there in Miami. I can't remember. You do know a certain amount of things are about race as well too. So, I don't have an issue, like I said before, I don't have an issue with him saying certain things. He's entitled to his opinion. I understand what he was trying to say about the family, about supporting black business, because we talk about it all the time too. Black folks aren't supporting black business, if we're going to be honest about that. Not to the way that they should. But you can't just sit up here and say everything. Like I said, you're from Florida. You've seen the Trayvon Martin. We saw the George Floyd situation. We've seen a bunch of different things, and just in the past 10 years, a lot of the civil unrest in this country. We've seen Donald Trump rise to president prominence, and the whole MAGA crowd. Don't tell me that whole MAGA base don't have a whole issue with race. I mean, whether you say I'll support Donald Trump, this or that, whatever, that you're entitled to that, but don't say that a large part of his voting block, which is MAGA, don't have an actual have some issues with black people in this country. Don't say that when Barack Obama was in there, whether you support Barack Obama or not, don't say that a lot of these people didn't come out the woodwork, that the fact that Obama was president, that they had an issue with him and stuff like that. So I mean, the race issue, sometimes we live in this fallacy that, and I especially I hear with white folks, but I hear with black people as well too. I hear with especially older black people. But we have this fallacy where they talk about, well, this person. I saw somebody post something talk about when Obama became president, he made the country so divisive. And like, when in the hell has this country, black and white, ever been united in this country? There's not an era, a century that you can go to that black and white people were in unison about anything in terms of race and treatment of how it was. Most white people didn't even believe that black people should be voting or should enjoy anything in terms of integration. So when exactly had this happened? And I've even heard older black people that's baby boomers that was born in the 40s and the 50s and say, well, things are worse now than it was. And I'm like, things are worse now than it was? Then when you was growing up and you couldn't even drink at certain water fountains? Things are worse. Were things worse when those kids back there in Boston got the bus turned over and stuff like that, when they were desegregating the schools up there? Was things worse when black kids had to be ushered into schools with people with the army and stuff in Little Rock? How is things worse? I mean, we've never had this kumbaya moment in American history. And it's not for lack of trying, but we've never had that. So when people sit up here and say, well, this person, and they made things, I'm like, well, no, this person may have stirred things up a little bit and people came up out of the pretending stage, but it's not worse than what it was. The country has never been in unison. Black and white have never, ever, ever been in unison. So like I say, well, I can agree with some of what Trick Daddy's saying to Trick Daddy too. Let's be for real. Trick Daddy records and what he talked about and stuff like that. I mean, you can't sit up here, man, and talk about niggas as niggas' own worst enemy, and all you talked about was niggas this, nigga that, nigga this, nigga that. Talking about popping pills and this and that, and shooting niggas and hoes licking ass and all kind of stuff. I mean, come on, bro. You can't sit up here and we just want to be real about this. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, and I know you closing in on 50 now, and things have changed or whatever. Like I say, especially when you're not dropping records like you once were, but you can't just sit up here and totally say, yeah, well, we need to stop playing the race card. We need to stop doing this and that or whatever. Like when you never had any music in terms of like no unifying music. Yeah, I liked some of your music and stuff like that. I mean, I used to listen to your music and stuff like that, but I didn't think that I was getting some great some great culture in terms of it. I mean, I just thought it was what it was. Like, hey, it's supposed to entertain you or whatever. Like, it wasn't. I mean, I really I don't know what people are talking about sometimes. But I saw Aunt Live was trying to come up here, but she ended up disconnecting. I don't know if she lost connection or whatever. Everybody up in the space, y'all make sure y'all share the space out for the night. We're talking about the Rizza Islam situation going on. We're talking about Trick Daddy, who had an article on Hip Hop DX, and he's talking about black folks and the use of the race card, and basically it's just something that we're just using entirely too much. We got a bunch of our people up in here, so I definitely want to hear your thoughts, and I want to hear your thoughts on Rizza Islam as well, too, guys. A lot of folks think Rizza has been, that he has been made an example out of. That Rizza, he's highly critical of certain communities. He's been labeled an anti-Semite, and and racist and this and that or whatever. So some people think that, you know, in terms of what he does in the community, he's now feeling a blowback, a huge blowback. So definitely just want to get people's opinion. I see Dana came up here. So Dana, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing tonight?
Good. Because I'm in a room, and I think sometimes I have dead spots in here. So let me know if it starts like breaking up. But just real quick on a Rizza, I remember, I think it was this year, the beginning of this year, that Louis Farrakhan, I don't know if you guys remember, he did a radio, he released a audio, Louis Farrakhan, condemning Rizza Islam behavior with one of the women of the Nation of Islam. I guess he was dating and he was sleeping with her, and then the woman went public. I don't know, she went straight to Minister Louis Farrakhan, complaining, not so much, I don't think it was sexual harassment, but saying that he violated her. And so, you know, Louis Farrakhan was like, not dogging him, but really criticizing him for his behavior, which I kind of have to agree, because the girl he's supposed to be engaged to now was not the first fiance he had. It was the first, the woman before this one he was engaged to, but they were sleeping together, and Louis Farrakhan was like, you're not supposed to be sleeping with a woman before you marry, and he was telling a woman you wasn't supposed to let him in your home knowing that wasn't your husband. But either way, you know, that was like a violation or something to dump her. So I say all that to say, he is shady. And I know his mother passed away, and I think because his mother was put up on charges too, and his mom passed away, I think it was last year, but it was something with him and his mom, and with the Church of Scientology, which this medical thing came into play.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about now.
Right. So he is shady, and maybe, and if he is quote unquote innocent, the fact is that because he was somewhat involved, maybe he wasn't the one committing whatever crime, or the insurance fraud, but because you were affiliated with your mom and with the other people, you know, they're gonna throw the charges on him. And I'm like, is he the only one being charged with this insurance fraud? Was it just him and his mom? Because I believe it was a partnership they had with some other people.
No, from my understanding, other people already took their plea deal, but I believe he's the last one that hasn't. He's the only person that hasn't. So no, he's not the only one. Like you said, his mom was also charged as well too. And I read the article. It's up in the Jumbotron. It's the on the it's on.
I actually pulled up the court papers like last year. So because he was supposed to go to trial, I believe, in 2019 or 2020. Then in 2020, and COVID hit, so it like delayed a lot of stuff. So I guess he probably thought it was going to just be brushed away or something. But I mean, if he's going to take it to trial, maybe he believed in his innocence. However, I'm just saying, with that thing that came out with Louis Farrakhan condemning him, he is very shady. And, you know, Louis Farrakhan is not the first person, you know, behind the scenes to kind of say Rizza Islam is a shady individual. So.
Okay, and I do vaguely remember something coming out about that, what Louis Farrakhan said something. I don't remember the entire thing, but you know, yeah.
I briefly remember that too, man, because it was all over the space. I mean, all over Twitter, when people were posting it. From what I remember, when Louis Farrakhan had released this audio tape, I think, and was talking about this relationship that Rizza Islam had with some woman. But I'm gonna say this to Dana, the man is not shady because he was getting ass. Now, come on, man.
I think it was. I think because listen, if both of them are part of the nation, and was your fiance, like you proposed her, she was supposed to be your wife, but he ended up doing what us, I guess, us regular folk who is not in any church do. Like, you know, when a guy dating a girl and, you know, she liking him and he liking her and she think it's serious, especially if you're supposed to get married and you have sex. And that goes against Nation of Islam. So, and then he dumps her. And then, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, she like, wait a minute, you know, you was all up in me, and then you dumped me, you're not even going to marry me, even though you promised. So, I mean, that type of, being an asshole, basically. But he's shady as far as the insurance fraud, too. I've heard from several people behind the scenes that he got some shit with him. Louis Farrakhan made it public, and the way Louis Farrakhan broke it down in that audio, it was not a good look for Rizza. I mean, we all have done, you know, shady stuff or whatever. We all have skeletons in our closet. But the minister aired his ass out. And that is because, yeah, you're walking around here as somewhat of a, you know, a prominent figure in the Nation of Islam, number one. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to follow the rules and, you know, that religious law. But then it's like you live in a double life. And then now you want to say this pro-black and pro-women and pro-family, but you dissing this woman that you promised marriage to. No, that's not a good look. That's like if Malcolm X would have did that. Get Betty Shabazz pregnant or something and leave her, or promise to marry her. So it's on the same lines as that, because Rizza Islam is really trying to position himself like a Malcolm X. So that's what I mean, like shady, because you're putting yourself high up on a, you know, podium here, and then you doing regular shit, and then now you got this insurance fraud. You know what I'm saying, between you and your mother in on it with the Scientology. I think it was Scientologist people, but either way, insurance fraud in the hood. Dealing with, I believe it was people recovering from addiction. You know, so you're talking about poor people, poor black people, and you caught up in the insurance fraud for money. That's business. And then on your personal life, look at your personal life. So that's what I mean, you know, shady. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get it.
I get what you're saying too, Dana. Only thing I would say is that the
Muhammad was doing. That's all he did.
Well, no, not really.
Elijah Muhammad was shady.
Nobody knows it.
Well, hold on real quick, because before let
Muhammad married those women though.
Yeah, and
you can have more than one wife in Islam.
Yeah, and not only that, but I will say this part right here. You know, I the privately thing, like I said, we did hear that, and I briefly didn't really know what it was about, but like I said, I do remember hearing something like that last year about Farrakhan saying that at the same time, one thing could be true and the other one not necessarily true. I don't know exactly what was going on in his private life, his romantic life, or whatever, but at the same time, this thing he was supposed to be about. I think it was supposed to be about teens that was that was on drugs or whatever. And it's rehabilitation, and and then you have people saying that it was basically a way to go ahead and get them indoctrinated into the Scientology thing or whatever. So I don't know exactly. Only Rizza Islam and his people would know exactly. He's fighting the charges. He decided not to take a plea bargain. I've heard, I don't know Rizza personally or whatever. I've heard some positive things that he's done in the black community. And also you can do positive things and still have other issues as well, too. So I've heard some positive things that he's done in the black community. I don't know exactly what's what. The trial does start tomorrow, guys. So we'll definitely, we'll definitely keep our eyes glued to it. I don't really know exactly what's what, but hey.
Can I ask this question about the case? Because is he brought up on charges like of conspiracy? Because isn't this thing?
This is fraud. I know it's fraud. It's fraud.
But you know how you didn't do nothing wrong, but because let's say you got on a phone call with somebody or money was exchanged, even though you didn't know where that money was going, it's something so vague. Like the simplest thing that you think you're doing a legitimate business transaction, but because your name was on it, or you probably got on a phone call and you could have been like the middleman for introducing two people. Yeah, like if you're introducing somebody to somebody, who was that? Irv Gotti. Yeah, because he was like, when his lawyers broke it down to conspiracy or trafficking or whatever, right? But maybe he's fighting it because maybe he wasn't doing the insurance fraud directly, but because he was, let's just say, a third party, an investment. So maybe that's why he's fighting it. But it just seemed like he just get himself caught up in some shit.
Well, from what he was saying, Dana, from when I read his press release and stuff, he was basically he was implying that, hey, the stuff that took place, while he was actually doing what he was supposed to and doing the work, he was unaware and didn't know if this shady stuff was going on behind the scenes. So that's from the press release that I read, that's pretty much what he was implying, that, hey, while I was out here,
guilty by association.
Yeah, I mean, so that he was saying, well, basically, well, I'm doing the work and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing or whatever. I don't have any knowledge of any illegal activities going on behind my back. So that's what he was pretty much trying to say. I mean, the case is, like I said, the case starts tomorrow or whatever. And you said I didn't know his mother has passed away, you said?
Yeah, I believe his mom passed away last year. But she passed away during the process, before this point of going to court. So I think it was last year. It wasn't too far gone. But let me ask you this, because you have playing a race card. Is he playing a race card, Rizza Islam, saying because I'm a black man, they want to string me up or whatever? Because he's good for doing that.
Well, I mean, let's be for real now. His association now let's also because I think I saw on the ADL website, Rizza Islam's name was on there. So they consider him a big time anti-Semite. He's with the Nation of Islam. So he's with an organization that they consider both anti-Semitic and racist as well too. So who said?
I was gonna say, get right here in the jungle trying to. I posted that ADL article they wrote up on Rizza. So yeah, it ain't looking good. So that's why I say it's the small hats that really want him, not so much what he allegedly did. You know what I mean?
So just to your question, Dana, do you think it's a possibility that they may have an axe to grind with him as well too?
Yeah. Okay. So.
Hey, Dana, look at that article, Dana, that's in there about it says Rizza, they want him to frock as he riding these small ass read the whole
but that's what I'm saying. So if he's on their list,
accusations they're saying against him from the ADL. Go look at it real quick, white sleep.
Right, but if they're saying that, if they're putting him on their list of being anti-Semitic, then I'm pretty sure, definitely in California, right? I think this is in Los Angeles, Compton, or whatever. They know judges out there. They're very, very well connected and powerful people. The small hats, even though that's a derogatory word, small hats out there. So, yeah, if he is found guilty, I'm pretty sure, whether he's really guilty or not, I'm pretty sure that they have a hand into it. Because the only thing they got to do is make a phone call. And they know the judges, prosecutors, or whoever. They got all those people on payroll. So
yeah, and that's the only thing I'm saying. You make an enemy with the ADL. I mean, you have a major problem on your hands right here. And Rizza doesn't. Let's be for real. He may be a member of the Nation of Islam, but he's not Farrakhan. He doesn't have the whole organization behind his back the way Farrakhan is the face of the Nation of Islam. So. Yeah, that's a situation. That's a problem right there on his hands right there too. He definitely has enemies in high places. So, whether he's innocent or he's guilty, we don't know. But one thing we do know is that, hey, there's a significant amount of people that want to see him go down. And there's some major players that, that's pulling some strings behind the scenes as well too, from what it looks like. So I get what
you notice he's aligning himself up with the anti-vaxxer. So that's a whole separate group of oligarchs. You know what I'm saying? Like there are a lot of Jewish oligarchs, but then you have the other people that are like anti-vaxxers, a lot of corporations like the JFKs and all them. He's aligned himself with them. But what I also notice is Louis Farrakhan, he does not have Louis Farrakhan like protection. Louis Farrakhan keeps his distance, and especially after that audio. And I wonder if that was a strategic move on Louis Farrakhan part, you know what I'm saying, to distance himself, even like let's say in 2019 from Rizza Islam, because of this. Because we all know Louis Farrakhan and Jewish community always had date back and forth their eyes with each other. And it's like, I'm not going to attach myself or protect you when you on their list and you have this medical insurance fraud against you and this chick running her mouth. He's bad for business. So he's attached himself to the Alex Jones and RFK or whatever, Junior anti-vaxxers, because he needs some type of support and backing.
Absolutely. And I forgot until you just mentioned that, because I know also didn't he get banned off of YouTube about the anti-vaccination thing at one time?
Actually, he got banned off of Twitter. He got banned off a year.
Okay, but he's still on Instagram, right? I know he got banned off YouTube, and Twitter, but I think he's still on Instagram.
Well, he's back on Twitter now too, though. He's back on Twitter as well. But I
think that's what I'm saying. Like, but when I see him now, I see him with a certain group, and those are the anti-vaxxers, people who are against like the pharmaceutical companies. And that's another thing too, because you talk about health insurance. Health insurance has pharmaceutical companies in their pockets. See, people don't realize that, and he's going out against pharmaceutical. I think this rabbit hole go way deep, and I think it goes deeper than Rizza Islam, and he don't realize what he put himself in. And you're black, so yeah.
So when you throw in, like I said, the fact that he, from what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. From what you're saying, though, you're dealing already with the ADL. You already, like I said, you're considered a big anti-Semite. Like you say, you don't have the backing, you don't have the full support of Louis Farrakhan or the other Nation of Islam. Even though I'm sure there's some members in the Nation of Islam that support him wholeheartedly, but you got to worry about the ADL, and now you also have this other, a lot of these health organizations, when you started really going ahead, and then not only that, you made an enemy out of some of these social media sites as well too. You made an enemy out of the Twitters of the world at the time, and the YouTubes and everything else of the world. So you're definitely a man that's having to go ahead and fend off some big whales on your own. So he's definitely he definitely, it's almost like it's a feeding frenzy with him. Like I say, whether he's innocent or guilty, we don't know at this point in time. What I'm hoping is that he at least gets a fair trial. We don't know we don't know how the cards are going to be stacked against him and everything else. So I'm hoping that he can at least get a free trial, and hopefully he has some evidence to point to, hey, I didn't know about this, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, or whatever. And then you got the whole thing with the Scientology, and I just, to me, I didn't really understand that. When we're talking about getting teens rehab for drug addictions or whatever, getting teens rehab, and then people saying, well, basically it was like some kind of elaborate front that no, they weren't really doing it. They were trying to get people. I just find it hard to believe that, hey, we're saying that we're going to get these teens some help. The teens, they said the teens actually didn't have any issues with drugs, and it was just pretty much from the wording that it was pretty much almost a front to get people almost into the Scientology into the Scientology lifestyle. I could be wrong, but I kind of have that just kind of baffles me a little bit that they went through all of that to get people. And it'd been one thing you said to get people into the NOI, but to get them in the Scientology or whatever. And I know Scientology, and let's be for real, the past how many years or whatever, I'm sure the past 10, 15 years or so, an unlikely partnership or whatever with Scientology and the Nation of Islam kind of took place or whatever. I don't know exactly how that started, to be honest. I don't know, but I just find that kind of hard to believe. I just find that kind of strange to believe that they would have went through all of that to get people into Scientology. I mean, to me that is a true head scratcher. That is a true head scratcher there. So we gonna see. I know everybody keeps talking about the Young Pharaoh video, and I may have to take a look at that video because I've never seen that. Like I said, I know Young Pharaoh kind of says, I know you got people that live by him, by what he says and stuff, but Young Pharaoh kind of says a lot of wild stuff. I'm gonna just be honest. He says a lot of wild stuff, and you know.
I'm sorry, did he interview Young Pharaoh?
I think Young Pharaoh did an interview about. I guess DJ knows about it. Young Pharaoh did an interview talking about the situation about Rizza Islam. DJ, did you say did Young Pharaoh interview him, or he was just breaking down some stuff?
More or less just breaking it down. He wanted to debate Rizza, but I guess it just never happened. But this is well before Rizza quit this particular charges. So you got to go back to YouTube coming into its infancy, more or less like 2014, 15, something like that. You know what I mean? And obviously we know Young Pharaoh's not on YouTube anymore. All those videos got scrubbed. That's why I keep mentioning. Did y'all ever remember seeing that Young Pharaoh video about Rizza Islam? Because it was very informative, man.
No, I didn't. I've caught some Young Pharaoh videos and stuff like that. Like I said, but I've never really been a huge follower, a subscriber, or listener to Young Pharaoh. But some of his videos and stuff I've seen and stuff like that. But this is one I've never seen. So I would definitely, like I say, I may go ahead and take a look if you get a chance. Send that video to me so I can take a look at it and see or whatever. Because I've never.
Like I said, unfortunately, Young Pharaoh, he ain't on YouTube anymore. He was actually in the process of suing YouTube for discrimination charges, and it actually made sense that what he was trying to do. But it is what it is moving forward. Who knows?
Wait, how is he going to sue YouTube?
Because we all know that these social white WPIs block black content.
Well, did he have proof that their algorithms intentionally blocked it?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. Because this is the thing, though. Because
I didn't finish, so don't think no, he didn't. He broke a lot of this stuff down. He had receipts or whatever he had receipts on. So it's like this is a while ago.
But no. When I say you're saying that he said he had receipts. What were the receipts? Anyway,
I could post receipts about how social media be blocking black content creators. I got my own personal receipts on that. So
but
that's
you're talking about specifically YouTube.
Right.
Company.
Okay. Hold on a second, then. Calm down now. So when we talk about how these WPIs be blocking black content creators, I could bring a ton of people up here to explain the same thing to you that do content. So at the end of the day, when let's talk about the hands. Our professor always cracking on your right hand. How do we know that these social media sites ain't targeting black people because we're changing our hand from white or changing it back to a black hand? How do we know we're not being targeted like that? You see what I'm saying? So that's one instance of
being targeted for what though? Because with YouTube, you have community guidelines, right? So with the community guidelines, if you are not producing content within the community guidelines, if you go out to community guidelines, you get a warning, you get a strike, you get a second strike, and then they take your page down. They're always updating community guidelines. It's always about covering your ass with corporate. Wait, slow down for a second. Slow down.
But those
stop.
community guidelines.
You're not. Listen. Stop. Let me finish what I was saying. You're not on YouTube. You're not a content creator on YouTube, so you don't know. And until you actually are producing content on YouTube, you can't sit up here and take the word of a Young Pharaoh because a lot of stuff he was saying went against the community guidelines. So now, if he's going to sue YouTube, the reason why I'm saying he doesn't even have a case, and if he did, where is that case at? The reason why he doesn't have a case is because you went against community guidelines. You have to have hardcore proof that they intentionally singled you out via discrimination. And where is his proof? And on top of that, you signed a whole bunch of agreements with YouTube. So it's not cut and dry. All this WPI, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's for the birds. Because you want to sue someone, you better have hardcore evidence. And you want to sue YouTube, it has to be at least hundreds of content creators on that lawsuit with you, and you're going to need millions and millions of dollars. But at the same time, he violated community crazy because that's very dismissive. But the fact is that I wouldn't take anything. I would take what he says by a grain of salt. Like, he wasn't always sound. He was very much of a narcissist. And he was riding a highway. He was supposed to speak at the Republican convention, I think it was 2 years ago, until he went on YouTube talking about the Jews in a negative, discriminatory way. And it was like, no, Negro, you are not invited. And then ever since then, it was like basically downhill. He goes too far, and he's too far out there. He got all this baby mama drama, whatever. So young Pharaoh is not someone that I would believe or really listen to and think he knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to business. So people think that, oh, YouTube racist, whatever. I mean, you could say that on a macro level or whatever, but you can say that about every social media platform when we're talking about the algorithm, when we're talking about AI. But you got to prove it. And how you want to prove something when you're violating it? So that's all I'm saying when it comes to YouTube.
Hey, real quick, guys, up in the Jumbotron, we got the YouTube channel up in there. It's in the middle of the actual Jumbotron. We have the YouTube channel up in the middle of the Jumbotron. We also have the Cash App in there for anybody who wants to support Newstoter, $, Newstoter, $, Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Let's see if we can go ahead and get a couple of subscriptions tonight to the actual YouTube channel. Like I say, that is in the middle of the Jumbotron. Guys, don't add any more stuff. We got enough stuff in the Jumbotron. That's up in the Jumbotron. So go ahead. For those that have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to it. If you have, go ahead and go up in the Jumbotron and retweet the actual YouTube channel out as well. For those that don't have Cash App, we have Venmo and PayPal if you want to contribute to Newstoter. Go ahead, DJ.
Right. Okay. So with that being said, right then, I just tagged you in a post or whatever the case be. It's called Block Zuckerberg 2, and I'm going to post some other receipts that are for my own personal well-being. So at the end of the day, you said some things that young Pharaoh was saying or whatever the case be. Hey, look, if I'm speaking about specific things, shouldn't my First Amendment rights be protected? And when you say broke the YouTube rules, well, it was actually just regular YouTubers or whatever people, or just regular folks going on his channel and just reporting the shit. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, was he breaking the rules, or were people just being trolls and reporting them? That's the difference right there. Other thing is too, I've talked to a bunch of content creators, and I am a content creator. I am on YouTube, but I don't post videos or anything really like that anymore because I don't really care about being on YouTube like that. I'm really more on the street. I got more subscribers in the street than I do on YouTube, but that's another story. So at the end of the day, if you go on YouTube and type in, say, Facebook blocking Black people, that shit will come up all day. YouTube, blocking Black people, that shit will come up all day. And the main folks that you're going to see that are making these videos are people that are in the grassroots conscious community that want to see a Black agenda, reparations, whatever it be. Things happening in the street, Jordan Neely, Tari Nichols, they blocking and suppressing our information. So with that being said, the only logical thing to do is get off these sites and move over to our own. And with that being said, make sure you sign up for social, soxcil.com. There you go. Come over to Funded Social because we're moving on our own. It's time for us to make a mass exodus off these WPIs. Because if Twitter could block you for saying something as simple as Negro, then that's crazy. Or if Twitter's supposed to be this crazy political platform where you could go and verse people in a civic educational level, why is it that when we add these people, regardless of what, not saying anything derogatory to someone you might add, like one of these politicians, they will block you. So it's like, what's the purpose? People make their own rules up and go about it and want to, display how they feel that is correct or what the community guidelines should really be. And then obviously, you can say small hat is a derogatory term, but hey, that's what we call them up here. So they own everything. We don't own none of this media stuff. So it ain't really our decision on what the rules should be anyway, because these people won't even sit down and have a conversation at the table. let's be logical about that when it comes to.
Well, you said Twitter. Are you talking about Twitter? Or are you talking about YouTube?
I'm talking about white WPIs in general.
What is WPI?
White public institutions.
Okay, so then why you want it then?
Because
if you have a problem with
hold on. You asked me a question. Let's be.
And real quick, we're gonna move to the topic because we're not talking about. Yeah. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna let you speak, but I'm saying real quick because I don't want to get into the young pharaoh, and I don't want to get into the community standards and guidelines on YouTube and all this and that, whatever. I want to get back to Rizza Islam and Trick Daddy. So I'm gonna go ahead real quick and let y'all get it in real quick, and then we got to move forward.
Right. So with that being said, all I'm saying is when you say, hey, why are you on here? Well, why shouldn't we be on here? Black people are the ones that really make these social medias go around. So when you go over to TikTok, for example, right? While you got these white folks that be stealing our black kids' dance moves and stealing their little raps, don't even credit them, turn around, remake the whole video over again and get paid off it. And then when our black kids complain to TikTok and all these other people, which is very well documented, that TikTok be doing this, there's no apology, there's no check coming from out of that. So why we are still posting our stuff up there? So if you go on my YouTube, you'll see a crazy time gap between when I post videos and stuff like that. You come over to my Facebook page, whether it be my government name or my DJ name, you know what I'm saying? You'll see stuff that I'm posting that, not to say it don't get any traction, but at the end of the day, it's really being suppressed. Shout out to the reparationists, you know what I mean? Constantly being suppressed. Sister got 300 videos on ScrewTube talking about reparations. Why ain't none of her stuff getting monetized? Or what? And then she come back and say, hey, well, they demonetizing my videos because you're talking about reparations and black stuff. Go look this stuff up, man.
Well, no, but the thing is, it's not just black people being targeted. So again, you making it just, it's all on us. And TikTok, let me speak because you just spoke. TikTok is owned by China. That's not even an American company. So the thing is, I'm specifically talking about YouTube. Yes, Facebook do what Facebook do. They had not just lawsuits from black people. There are other people from other groups that were suing Facebook. The thing with Twitter now is under Elon Musk, so it's a little bit different. But I'm talking about YouTube. You can't lump every social media up into one because they're different. Instagram, Facebook is owned by the same person. TikTok, that's owned by China. Twitter, Elon Musk. YouTube, that's part of Google. So again, if you sign up for something, you can't say, well, I could be on whatever platform because that's your right. Yes, that's your right. But if you feel as though that particular company is discriminating against you, then don't do business with that company. But we are on these platforms, number one, because we want to get our message out to the masses. And then going back to the topic, what you're saying, Newstoter race card, this race card goes beyond Trick Daddy. So because, Trick Daddy saying that stop using a race card, but this is exactly what me and DJ talking about, the race card. DJ saying that, I would say DJ is using a race card when it comes to black people being censored on YouTube. So Trick Daddy is one of the most ignorant entertainers out there. That's how he made his money. So him saying black people stop using a race card, that means stop complaining and start kissing some white ass so you can get a check. That's all that means. But do we use the race card? Yeah, just like every other group. There are bigger YouTubers. I forgot his name, but he was supposed to do the deal with Daily Wire, and then that went haywire and came to Zoom. They was going back and forth. His YouTube is demonetized. If he has like a couple of million on YouTube, shit is demonetized. But he built up his platform on YouTube to shift his own network. So he has a very large following network where people pay a subscription, and that's how he get paid. So the purpose of YouTube is to build up a network to outsource it to your own independent media. So I'm not going to sit up here unless you have a major entity backing you to take YouTube, i.e. Google, to court. All this with the young pharaoh, he complains a lot. he want to sit up here and go in on white people, on Jewish people, or whatever. But I'm not going to say he's not sane. But the fact is that he has no credibility. So I think we need to just stop listening to people who's yelling out race and discrimination, but they don't have a plan. They're not credible. Going back to Rizza Islam. So if we want to do something, then we need to be very strategic about it, and we need to know what we're talking about. And you need to know the rules and the regulation, because they could just say, this is our rules and regulations, you agree to this contract, and you went against that. So case closed. But what do you use YouTube for? You use it to build out a network of your own. But they're not just black people. There are a lot of white people on YouTube, big content creators that are demonetized, or they're not pushed down the algorithm, but they have outsourced of a large, let's say, like mailing list on their website, and that's how they make their money. So
okay,
that
I was gonna say, yeah, because I honestly, y'all, I've heard enough about the actual community standards and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and try to get back, and if we want to do the race card, let's keep it focused on the actual topic, because we've talked enough about YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all of the rest of them. We pretty much know that with some of these algorithms that they do have AI, and they do, I believe, target black people to a certain degree with the content and stuff like that. Some of the top black content creators have said it. You've heard Phil Scott from the African diaspora. You've heard Tariq. You heard some other people mentioning and stuff like that. But at the same time, I want to get back to the actual topic, and we got a decent amount of people in here tonight. Not a huge space, but a decent amount. Let's go ahead, and anybody that's in the listening section right here, we got some of our main listeners in here, our main people. I'm surprised none of y'all have raised your hand to come up and speak tonight. We ain't going to keep the space open that much longer, especially if people don't want to come up and speak either. So we definitely want to go ahead and get people's opinion on the Rizza Islam trial, as well as the Trick Daddy trial. Like I said, I want to go, not Trick Daddy trial, excuse me, but Trick Daddy and the race card or whatever. I want to go ahead and get this topic back, get the room back on topic as much as possible. Because like I say, we ain't going to be in here a whole too much longer, whatever. We might not be in here too long at all if nobody comes up to speak as well, too. Because me, Professor, Dana, DJ, we had a couple speakers earlier, J Money, and I can't think of the other gentleman's name that was up here. Who was that? Larry. We had Larry speak, but we don't have a whole bunch of people tonight trying to speak on the topic, which is surprising because I thought the actual tweet that I put out there yesterday with Trick Daddy got decent amount of people to actually view it and stuff like that. So I thought we would have more interest in it, especially with Rizza Islam being as prominent as he is on social media as well too. I thought we'd have a lot more people that would be chiming in about the actual case that he has coming up and everything. Now, once the case gets started, I expect to see people holding spaces and videos and everything else to be made about him and this and that or whatever. So I thought our people would definitely come in here and, and I understand if you don't know much about it, because I just found out about it a couple of days ago myself as well too. But like I say, the article's up in the Jumbotron. So if you want to go ahead and read it and touch up on it, but I definitely thought we'd have more of our people actually coming in and actually trying to just speak on it or whatever. Because like I say, Rizza Islam is you see him at a lot of events and stuff like that they have and stuff like that people have, and he shows up. He's always a guest speaker. A lot of people he resonates with a lot of people. I'm sure, like anything else, like we mentioned before, the ADL, he is definitely on their target. As Dana mentioned before, also he with the whole anti-vaccine thing. You saw how powerful and Dana, and at that time I wasn't doing YouTube videos, but I definitely know that you had a lot of content creators you couldn't even put the word COVID in titles, and you couldn't even say the word COVID and stuff like that. So I mean, he went against the grain, and he's made some powerful enemies, both in the health profession as well as, like I say, those with the ADL as well too. So Dana's got her hand up, but yeah, like I say, we're definitely trying to get a few speakers up here because we ain't gonna go too much longer. It's a Sunday night. We did get one subscriber to the YouTube channel. So shout out to who was that? Shout out to Truth Bearer on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We definitely haven't got any more subscribers. So we definitely want to go ahead and see if we can at least get 1 or 2 more subscribers. Like I say, if you already subscribed, then that's cool. Just go ahead up in the Jumbotron and retweet it out. Go ahead, Dana. You got it.
No, like I said, so I mean, you want the conversation to go back to Trick Daddy, but I think the conversation should be centered around a race card because honestly, who cares about Trick Daddy? He's not popping. He's old. He's ugly. He's sickly. He hasn't had a hit in over a decade. The only thing he got going from is Love and Hip Hop Miami. He's even still on there. So he knows nothing about history. I can tell you that right now. He's not intelligent. He's not an intellect on any type of level. But the fact is that race card, that was a very interesting comment that he made. It wasn't an intellectual comment because honestly, let's keep it a buck. We make money off of #race card content. That is profitable. It's profitable on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram. I don't deal with Facebook. I just find it boring. But the fact is that YouTube is where it's at. And using that race card is what gets you views and subscribers. Look at Tariq Nasheed, even Rizza Islam. Now, I think you can start talking about the election now on YouTube. But when we say #race card, that's the real conversation, not Trick Daddy. Because who cares about Trick Daddy?
Well, here's the thing real quick though, Dana. Trick Daddy, he was, he is the actual topic for the night. And, you can intertwine that. But Trick Daddy was the one that actually, and he brought up a discussion because he actually, quite a few sites actually covered what he actually said about it. So in general, Trick Daddy's talking about black people in general using the race card. So it's just not totally on Trick Daddy himself. But my thing is that you and DJ kind of was talking about the I know we went from Young Pharaoh to we went to the community standards, we went to this, we went to that, or whatever. I wanted to get it back on the actual topic of Rizza Islam and Trick Daddy using the race card. Now we can use Trick Daddy to go ahead and jump into the race card issue. We can talk about it, and we've been talking about it. It hasn't been strictly, Trick Daddy. We were talking about Trick Daddy because I use a number of examples of the race card issue and stuff like that as well too. But I wasn't trying to go from A to Z all the way. Like
I think me and DJ was talking about the race card though. We use when you brought up Young Pharaoh, that was like an example, but our underlying discussion was the race card because DJ made valid points. I'm not saying what he said was wrong because when we talk about #the race card, does that play a part in our censorship? Yes and no, right? So Trick Daddy is saying, "Oh, stop using a race card." Well, stop using it to do what? What are we supposed to do? Why should we stop using it when everybody else uses it? When your counterparts, those music executives, those Jewish people who own a music company, they use it, right? So why can't we use it? It's money behind that. And even with Rizza Islam, he did put a message on Instagram asking for money to support his legal fund, blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing wrong with that. People follow him, support him, right? But he's using a race card too, because he added, I'm a black man, whatever. Wow. Every race card in every single group. So, it's a gift and it's a curse. So it's like, yeah. So my thing is, I'm just saying it's bigger than Trick Daddy, but he reminds me of Luke. Remember Luke was going on Twitter saying all of that dumb shit like, dude, you're old. Like, you know what I'm saying? All that popping with the women and whatever. Now you want to be conscious, and that's how I see Trick Daddy.
All right. Well, yeah, like I say, I don't have an issue with that, like I say, but it was the conversation we were talking about community standards and this and that or whatever. So yeah, like I said, we've been mixing in the actual issue with the actual race card and everything else in there as well too. So like I said, I just want to try to keep it on there as much as possible because we were talking more about social media sites more so than anything else. I see Shepard got his hand up as well too. So Shepard, anybody that wants to speak as well too, that's the new speakers coming up, raise your hands and we will go ahead and get to you. We will hold on one second. Yeah. Raise your hands for any of the new speakers that's coming up here and we will go ahead and we will get to you. We definitely want to hear from some of our new speakers. I see Trouble and Iron coming up here with Shepherd as well too. So we're gonna go ahead and get to it. Also, guys, like I say, support us on Cash App. We need to support it. And that's one thing Trick Daddy say, love him or hate him. And one thing, and I said that in the space earlier, he's right. We take our money and we don't support black business. So if you want to support a black business who support other black business, Newstoter is the one, because we support well over 30 black businesses on the actual site as well, curating their news and content for free, dispensing it out there. So definitely, once again, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. We had one person that contributed to not only the nice Twitter space, but the nice actual content. Like I say, because even on the weekend, we still putting out massive amounts of content. So definitely go ahead and support on Cash App for those that can. For those that can, that is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you don't have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Newstoter is still the largest Black-owned, Black American-owned news media curation platform today in America. For those on YouTube as well, guys, the links are up in the actual description as well too. For the people on YouTube that can support, we definitely appreciate that as well too. DJ, you want to say something real quick, because then I want to get the Shepherd and them in the rest of the hands.
Yeah, just to close out on the race thing and how these WPRs be cock blocking us. So let's take the same situation and go over to the EEOC. So when you go into the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and say, hey, look, I was terminated from my job because I'm black or whatever the case be, they're going to turn you around and say the same thing. You can't use race to say you've been discriminated against for whatever the reason. And they'll also say the same thing you said, that, well, were you the only person that it happened to? Well, why gotta happen to somebody else when I'm telling you what happened to me? There you go.
All right. Now let me go ahead and get the Shepherd. Shepherd, what's up? How you doing tonight? Yeah, and you can turn the Trick down, because we don't want to get no strikes against the channel either, because we live streaming it. Yeah.
Baby, I'm a thug. That's right.
Right. I was going to start off right. You know what I mean?
You got it, but go ahead.
You know what I mean?
We got you. We got you. Huh? What you said now?
Oh man, yo, my headset is acting up, man. Let me fix it, and I'll go next.
Okay. Well, come back when you get a chance. Let me go ahead and get to Trouble. Trouble, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter, a black family up in the cut. How y'all doing this evening?
What's up, Trouble?
Chilling. I'm just getting in the room, so I didn't hear everybody else's comments on the subject. But I just kind of quickly read up on the Rizza Islam, because I kept hearing about it, but nobody ever kind of really elaborated on what it was that he was going to trial for. But I see that in the article that you posted, they were saying when he went into court that for him and his mother, they declared Sobrian citizen status, and I don't know what it is with the Sobrian citizen status, but there's been a lot of people who've tried to use that when going up in the course, and of course, for some reason, when it comes to a lot of the black people who've tried to use it, have always kind of shut that down. And so I don't know why people keep using that or haven't found a way to actually make it stick, but that's kind of odd. But as far as the insurance claim, it just seems that I don't really want to make a whole lot of comments on that, because I don't know really what all of that insurance fraud is about, especially with them saying that it was teens who didn't need the treatment. But being that he is with the Nation of Islam and delves into Scientology, that may be why they're attacking him, because when it comes to being black in America, you got to be very careful about the things that you delve into that works for white folks don't necessarily always work for us. So I'm just going to kind of sit back and see where this trial goes and what all comes up in the case as it gets reported. As far as Trick Daddy saying stop with the race card, everybody plays the race card, but nobody gets offended until black people uses it in the same manner or uses it how we decide to use it. And so that's a tad bit annoying, even for And I don't think we should really be even paying attention to Trick Daddy talking about, black people or whoever need to stop using the race card, because he used it when he wanted to tell us specifically to stop using the race card. When you come out and you support Vax That Thing Up, and you have aligned yourselves with certain groups of people against your own people in certain spaces, you are the last one that we need to listen to when it comes to utilizing the race card. We can utilize whatever the hell we feel like we want to utilize, when we feel like we need to utilize it, because it's there for us to use. It's been used. The race card has been used against us. And who the hell created the race card? We didn't create the race card. We're just using the race card as we see fit, like everybody else does. But again, nobody has a problem with anything in this world until we're able to use it to our benefit. So, and I'll land with that.
Thank you, Trouble. I agree with you 100% on that. That's another thing we was talking about. It's not like black people came up with the actual invention of the actual race card. So, but it's always an issue when black people actually talk about the damn race card, or if black people talk about something that a certain demographic don't like, then you're using the race card. What's up, Shepard? Let's see how your headset is now. I mean, you straight?
Yeah, we good. Nah, the battery died. I'm good. I'll just talk through the phone. I'm outside. I didn't want all that background noise. But sister, I hate when I mispronounce a word and nobody corrects me. The word is sovereign, citizen. So I just want you to know that your pronunciation was a little off. I fuck up words all the time.
No, it was off, and I'm always gonna pronounce that word wrong, even with
I got words I can't say for scissors. But so yeah, as far as Trick Daddy, man, I don't know. Trick Daddy's a disappointment to me, man. I love some of his early songs and all of that, and I'm happy he got some bread to get his restaurant off the ground and all of that. But I don't know, man. I expected more from that brother. I expected more from a lot of people that were early, rap pioneers that just didn't pan out. Maybe I expected too much, but he was definitely somebody I thought he had more of a voice to be, a little bit more, larger in culture than he is. But moving to him, man, I ain't really a fan of Rizza Islam. I wish the brother the best. But if you do your math on the story, I don't want to say nothing. I might as well spit it like I spit it. But, excuse my French. They were taking vouchers from poor people they were taking $150 from poor people and giving them fake Section 8 vouchers. And then because Section 8 vouchers take so long to come, the real ones, they knew they had like a 3-year window that they could keep this money and flip it like a pyramid scheme. And they took so many 150s from poor people that there was almost a riot at the office when all of these people finally found out that they would signing fake vouchers, printing and signing fake Section 8. You know how important housing is to people? Like people damn near on the streets, and they scrape up their last 150 to give you because they think they got an application that's gonna get them a house, a place to lay their head, and you taking that money and robbing them. Yeah.
Now, where was this at, Shepard? Like you saying this is something different from what he's actually going to case or going to trial for?
Yep. This is totally different. Yep. Him and his mom. So he wasn't like in the Nation of Islam and in Scientology at the same time. They were in the Scientology, period. And they had a little nation background, but they weren't active in the Nation of Islam like that. They were Scientologists. And they went from that hustle to, okay, now that I've been, outed for stealing from the black community, let me use the Nation of Islam as a cover so I won't get attacked so much. But they weren't real active members. They were active Scientology members. Like, if you see pictures of Rizza when he was young, he looked just like he looked now with a big smile on his face. He's just this clean-cut dude who looks totally brainwashed by Scientology. Like, he looks weird. Like, his... I like where he's going now, with some of the knowledge he dropped. But once you stab the community in the back and do some fraud, I can't ever look at you like, okay, you good now.
Nah. You once you engaging in fraud on a mass level, and then you doing insurance shit. Now you doing something else. I'm never gonna look at you the same. So I don't have a lot of respect for that. I don't wish jail on nobody. But sometimes jail is the karma for some shit you ain't get prosecuted for. God has a funny way of dealing with you in other ways. So sometimes it's better to quit while you ahead or behind. One of the two. So I ain't got no tears for what Rizza going through. I'm tired of these people always like putting these people in some type of black savior type of position where they can't be indicted, they can't be held accountable in no type of ways for scamming the black community. It's too many of these YouTube dudes, it's too many of these politicians that's just straight up scamming. They have no intention of getting into office. They have no intention of doing anything in the community, and they just milking campaign funds. They just milking fucking YouTube for money and creating too much division. Black people in over the last couple of years have spent $2.5 million on fake candidates and fake YouTube people. $2.5 million. That's enough to have a lawyer and take some real shit to court, sue a city government, sue 3 or 4 city governments for black people. That's enough money to get something really done, like for a couple of communities. Like, I don't know. Or that's enough money to flip into rental properties and make it into 10 million. So this scamming online shit is just ridiculous at this point. And that for a lot of the political candidates too. They ain't trying to really get no seat. They just trying to raise their profile. And I think that was it. Rizza Islam, Trick Daddy. I ain't got nothing to say about the race card, man. What the sister said about the race card, I agree with. You know, it's here to be used if we need to use it. Everybody else uses it, and we the ones who earn the right to use it. You know, everybody uses it. You know what I mean? We created it. I mean, it's our shit. I mean, white people made up that word for us because we were using it, and we're gonna continue to use that shit. Fuck that. Excuse my French.
All right. And like I say, I didn't know about the situation you were talking about. Like I never heard that before, but you were talking about the vouchers and everything else. So let me just say allegedly, because that was the first time I ever heard that. But thank you, Shepard, for coming in. Because like I say, that was the first time I ever actually heard that you just mentioned. So let me go to Ian.
You know, I'll be close to the space.
You say what?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know what? The thing about Rizza though is that Rizza didn't just pull a
Hold on, bro. Hold on 1 second, man. You gotta raise your hand, bro.
No, he had his hand up. He had his hand. He had his hand up.
Oh, my bad. I'm in the matrix, man.
Go ahead. You got it, Ian. Ian, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you did call my name, right?
Yeah. I think he may be in the matrix, but yeah, I called your name.
Okay. All right. So yeah, but but the thing about Rizza Islam is that he's not just pulling a scam. So essentially, he was part of Scientology when actually they got him on Medi-Cal fraud, right? Because they had these high school students come in and do these programs, right? When they were supposed to be getting, some kind of real therapy, but really they were indoctrinating them with their Scientology. So it's a open and shut case on that because they were giving them Scientology under getting these federal monies from Medi-Cal or state monies from Medi-Cal. So that's and so they were saying that these young people from high school that they had some kind of they were giving them some fake diagnoses and whatever and all of this, but they weren't giving them any real treatment. They were giving them Scientology indoctrination, and so he was doing that with his mother. But here's the thing, though, is that they came under the umbrella of Scientology, to which also you had a prominent Nation of Islam member also a part of Scientology. Because at some point, Farrakhan was telling all of his followers to get into Scientology because the Nation of Islam had already had people people in place making money, because essentially what you can do is you can open up your own kind of chapter and you can make money, through this, through the Scientology organization. So what happened was, Rizza Islam and his mother were working together with a Nation of Islam member, right? And so the Nation of Islam brought them in, you know what I'm saying, to give their own selves cover, because the Nation of Islam was also involved in part and parcel in this whole scheme as well. You see, because so when we talk about the scamming, we're talking about not just individuals, we're talking about organizations. We're talking about Nation of Islam. We're talking about NARC. We're talking about NAACP. All of these black organizations, right? Whether they're religious, political, or whatever, they're all scamming the people. So this idea, when we're just calling out individual bad acts, pointing to the greater fraud that's going on through these organizations who haven't done basically shit for black people, right? We're really missing the moment, right? And so when we come to but here's the thing, he's using the race card now, because we're talking about because he's against the Jews. Listen, he didn't know shit about no Jews, right? When he was doing that shit. But I mean, well, he might have, but that wasn't his stick, right? He was connected to the Nation of Islam, because the Nation of Islam part of Scientology at that point, because that was part of how they were making some of their money. But that's not why he's in trouble. He got in trouble long before he started doing a lot of this rhetoric. And I don't understand why the Nation of Islam is always pulling these rogue, weird motherfuckers in to be spokesperson, for their organizations. You know what I'm saying? That is always happening. And to Trick Daddy's point, for all we know, he could be talking about some of the tethers, as they call them, or Caribbeans or diaspora folks who are playing the race card. For all we know, because he's not himself, a freedman, African American. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these motherfuckers, like Lou, a lot of these motherfuckers ain't from here. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of their positions really don't reflect, an understanding, from their own personal experience, or or if not from a lineage experience. You know what I'm saying? This idea of just gaslighting with this you playing a race card type shit. So I'll land there.
All right. Let me just say, what Trick Daddy's from, I'm not entirely sure, because I know he's from Miami. I'm in Florida, and we have a lot of people with different backgrounds here. Before I can't remember a song in the wind where Trick starts off by saying, "I'm an old Geechee, neck bone eating." So I'm assuming that he has some bloodlines in the Carolinas. That's just what I'm assuming. I don't know for certain, but he starts off on that song letting you know that he's an old Geechee. Ain't a whole lot of people gonna claim Geechee unless they actually, have Black American bloodlines. Also, let me say this real quick as well, too, because there's been a lot of different things thrown out in the Twitter space tonight. So I have to go ahead and say that the views tonight being shared, or the opinions tonight being shared, are not the views necessarily of Newstoter. So I just want to go ahead and put that out there as well, too. But we're definitely having a lot of interesting things coming about as well, too. So Professor, let me go ahead and let you get on the mic. Professor, if I get to you, let me Professor, you go ahead, and then we'll let Fred go ahead. Well, no, Professor, hold on. Let me get Fred, since Fred is a new speaker. Let me get Fred. Fred, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I just want to correct something, because as far as the Nation of Islam being part of Scientology, they was never part of Scientology. What it was is that the minister said that he saw something in Scientology that could probably be useful, and it was called auditing. Basically, when you sit down and you like whoever you would say would be like more like a therapist or something, and you would go through and basically you would talk about anything that you might have pent deep down and bring it out and deal with it. So I just want to throw that in there. The Nation of Islam was never, from anything that I've understood or seen, was part of Scientology. They just saw something in Scientology that they could use. It was called auditing. Now I'm mute.
All right. Let me go ahead, Professor. You got to go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, going back to Trick Daddy. The thing with this dude, man, and I'm not sure about his lineage per se, but I want to believe he is American. But now the tramp or the cum dumpster that he used to hang with, and I think he still hangs with her, Trina, who did that video, Buck the Boat or something, I think. Do y'all remember that? That video that they were trying to do for the so-called election, Buck the video? Well, Trina is not from here, and she's from somewhere else. So y'all might be mixing the two up right there. Now, she's not of us. But he hung with this person, right? This cum dumpster Trina. Now, with him, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go with what Dana said. Dana is absolutely on the money when she said that he's irrelevant. He hasn't been relevant for years. He hasn't had a hit in I think about 20 years, Dana. I'm trying to think the last hit he had was like America, I think. And I think that was the song Toto was talking about as far as like a social justice type song. Is that the one you're talking about, Toto? America?
He had, I think the last hit he had was with Lil Jon them. That was after America, but he had a hit with Little John them. I think I can't remember the name of that song in the early 2000s, but he did have a hit with Lil Jon. I think it was.
That's about 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about, dude. That's still gonna be close to 20 years ago. So this Joker has been irrelevant for over 20 years, y'all. Like Dana said, he's been irrelevant for years, and I think he can. It's almost like he's trying to find a way to put his name back out there. And I think when you make these kind of statements, it puts you back out there, it puts you back in the headline, and people start talking about you again. But like Dana said, he's an ugly motherfucker. Hell, he look, but shit. Like what they used to call Flavor Blade, like a bug, or an alien. Yeah. There you go. But see, my boy Flavor Blade, he been out of the rap game for years, but he's still relevant. You know what I'm saying? You know? And so when it comes, hey, look, 911 is a joke. Come on, y'all. Y'all know my boy Flavor Blade gonna forever be the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time. But this guy Trick Daddy, nobody talking about him. Nobody's talking about him. So he had to make a controversial statement in reference to Black Americans. And notice a lot of these folks that's in the entertainment industry will always come after their own people, right? Who just did that recently? We know somebody who just did that recently. Wasn't it Charles Barkley, I think, made a statement like this saying Black people have a hatred towards the gay community, the lesbian gay community. See, Charles Barkley. See, this is what I'm talking about. A lot of these entertainers, celebrities that look like us, would do stuff like this. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why they feel like they have to attack their own community. No more than I guess they have to keep their name out there, I guess. But Charles Barkley, he don't have to do that because he's still relevant. See, Charles Barkley don't have to do that, y'all. He's about to get a show on, or maybe he has that show now on CNN. So he has no need to do that. But this guy Trick Daddy, he's through.
Professor, why he's got that show on CNN coming up is because he's so quick to come out and talk against his own people. Cooning is big business. Trick Daddy has had 3 bankruptcies. And so everybody knows that cooning and saying off-brand things specifically about the Black American community will get you cool points and, slaps on your rear end from white society, and any director or producer or anybody who's got a little ching-ching to put you in a position. And so you are technically, due to your skin color, part of the community, but mentally you are not. And so that's why we have so many people that's willing to say off-brand things about their their own people is because they're opportunists. And unfortunately we have a lot of opportunists among us because everybody is starting to realize there's profit in coonery.
Amen, sister. It is a lot of profit in it, and unfortunately, our very own Black American people will sell us out. And unfortunately, that's something that we have to try to deal with in some kind of way because these people are hurting us. Though these are the very people that, and to be honest with you, these are the type of people that are keeping us from reparations because they do this type of stuff. What happens is your larger community, which is these caucasoids out here that love to throw this white supremacy talking points against us, they will latch on to the coons in the community and they say, well, look, that dude Trick Daddy over there. He just called you guys out. See, he just said the same thing that we've been saying. You guys like to use the race card all the time. That's right. See, this is why we got to get these black no good monkeys out of our spaces. And Trick Daddy, Charles Barkley, all of the rest of them that want to keep doing this cool stuff. Hell, even Denzel Washington, y'all. I'm just very shocked with Denzel, man, because he don't want us talking about reparations. See, this is another one. And then hell, even Morgan Freeman. See, he's another one that has done some cool shit. See, all these so-called great black entertainers that we all worship and that we all look up to. Well, let's be honest, we all looked up to Denzel, to tell the truth. We loved him in, what movie was that? Malcolm X. We loved him in Malcolm X. And we all felt like he should have won an Oscar for that. Hey, if I'm lying, I want everybody to just say, Professor, you're lying. But no, we all did. We all wanted him to win that Oscar for that movie. He did.
Professor, you're not lying, but that's just it. We got to start remembering that our entertainers are exactly that. They're entertainers, and we have to stop thinking when they play a role of a person that we revere in our history, such as Malcolm X. We have to stop thinking that they also embody the emotional intelligence or even the thought process of a Malcolm X. We have to keep our entertainers in their lane and just love them for the entertainment that they give us and not put them in the superhero position of a superhero for the black community. And also, everybody is not as versed on what reparations really is, what it's about, why it's necessary that we need. Because these cats, Samuel Jackson, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but him and Denzel, they got a bank account full of money. So it's easy for them to sit back and really kind of miss the point and say, well, turn into bootstrappers to a certain degree. And at the same time, they're always asked. They ask certain black folks about a political view that they really don't, that they may not have a whole lot of knowledge on, and so they come out with the general consensus. And you have to understand to a certain degree because they're entertainers, they're in that world, and they want another project. They need another movie too, because when you start making that money, you got to start spending that money, and then you start amassing certain things like homes and lawns, and you got to make sure you can pay the lawn man to cut, those 26 acres you've amassed over the years. Cut that money off because you need it to still keep coming in. And so even with a Denzel or a Samuel L. Jackson, we just got to start understanding that all folks can't speak for us. But at the same time, we have to learn how to start taking names and writing it down and putting it in the pocket and keeping it, just keep our eye on them and speak out, not be afraid to speak out against them when they say things that go against what we're trying to do. Yeah, Denzel, I love you. You played in some good movies, Devil in a Blue Dress or Red Dress or whichever dress it was. There's a whole lot of dresses going on. You played some iconic characters and love you. But when it comes to certain things, we need you to hush thy tongue. Just settle down there, cowboy. Just be quiet on that. We can't, take everything to heart. We seen him in Malcolm X, and all of a sudden we started thinking that Denzel was Malcolm X, that he had the same mindset, and he doesn't. So we do that with a lot of our entertainers.
Amen, sisters. And I'm gonna tell you something. Let's just call it like it is, family. It's all about us on the grassroots level. We only have ourselves to try to fix all of these issues. That's it. We no longer have any leaders like the Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, James Meredith. We don't have none. We don't have any of that anymore. It's over when it comes to true black leadership. So all you have is just ourselves to try to do what we can to make sure that we get back everything that belongs to our ancestors. And that's where I'm going to land my plane at.
All righty. And on that note, guys, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll shut the space down. We'll be back tomorrow night, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you to everybody who came out to the space tonight. Definitely keep your eyes glued on this trial of Rizza Islam as well too. Definitely I'm sure it's going to be in the news and it's definitely going to be trending on social media. So definitely keep your eyes on what's going on. Make sure you go ahead and retweet this space out as well too for any of your followers who may not have got a chance to actually come in here and listen tonight. It's recorded, so they can definitely go ahead and catch it. If not, then you can always catch it on YouTube as well too. So once again, thank you to the hosts, the co-hosts, the speakers, the listeners, and everybody who came in and joined us for this Sunday night space. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow night in our usual time slot, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you guys go ahead and check us out tomorrow night. And on that note, everybody be good and y'all have a good one. Be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow night.